live in a town called Croton Falls. It's a mix of blue-collar, industrial, artists are moving in, there's some musicians, they have a playhouse. What inspires me about the home across the street is the fact this 1865 mansard roof, Second Empire house, it was in rotten shape when we bought it, so you start from the ground up. It's basically a gut. One problem we had, of course, was how do you heat an old house? What it had was an old steam boiler, an old oil-fired boiler, probably 75 years old, clanking, wheezing, blowing out black smoke, baseboard heating all over the house in front of what we think are chestnut baseboards. So it's heading into winter. What do? Thin windows, and went through a number of options and came to Larry, who's a neighbor up in Croton Falls in North Salem. He said, let's try these new HVAC systems that blow in hot and cold air with one unit.
We're outside the house now, and we're at the heart of the system, the condensing unit or heat pump. This does both heating and cooling. And this is connected to the units inside by way of refrigerant lines. They run up the side of the house, and they go in through the wall and connect to the back of the inside unit. The idea is to connect as many inside units as practical to one outside unit. It saves on the installation costs, and you have fewer of these units outside. One of the big challenges in installing a heat pump system like we're doing here today is connecting the outside unit to the inside units by way of refrigerant lines. So we want to do it in a way that's discreet, so we're not disturbing the outside of the house too much, and minimizing how much line we need to use. So what our guys are doing today is we're decided to come through the basement and run the lines across the side of the house, and you see it's rolled up here. What's going to happen next is this line will run straight up to just above the door where it'll connect to the inside unit. So given the historic nature of this home, we've really minimized how much line is exposed on the outside. In fact, on this particular project, most of the lines that we're running will be run through the basement, through the inside of the house, so there's very little line on the outside of the house.
Larry from Phoenix and I get along really well. He's a master at what he does. He approaches a problem like I approach a painting. I look at the structure, I look at what I want to do with it. It's how do you draw it? How do you form things out? What are the physics of it?
We've installed our system. It's operational and working great. This style wall mount is a little bit different than what we're doing downstairs. Downstairs, they're mounted high on the wall above doors. This is a console mount, and it mounts below windows. We're limited on space here because of the nature of the room. All the walls are sloping, so we had to get a unit that would fit in this given space, and this one's perfect. So one of the common ways houses in the Northeast were heated back in the day is using hot water. Hot water would be circulated throughout the house by way of baseboard or radiators to create radiant heat. This is an oil boiler. So down here we have a burner. Oil flows through the burner, it ignites and heats up the chamber inside the boiler, heats up the water, and there are pumps that will actually push water throughout the baseboard or radiator. In this case, this house had baseboard heat. One of the goals of the owner was to remove all the baseboard heating, which wasn't particularly attractive, so we could show the molding, the historic molding that was beneath it. By removing this system, we had to find another way to heat the domestic hot water, so we went with electric water heating as well. So one interesting fact about the basement that we're in here is that it was a former speakeasy back in the 1800s. So people would come during Prohibition and buy and imbibe alcohol in this very basement. It's undergone changes over time, so now it's more a traditional basement.
So it's had a lot of interesting backgrounds. Nothing has been ruined, though. It's a cool thing. It has an old coal fireplace. It has all the old exit lights, and things are still there. It's like an archaeological dig. When I walked in the house, I found an 1858 penny. I've never seen one before. So it's a good sign.